Right now on Up with KREM, 3 former WSU fraternity members are the first sentenced in connection to the death of Sam Martinez.
A rural Montana community comes together after the Amtrak derailment rocked their town.
Everybody was just here, and that's what brings me to tears.
Another nationwide shortage could affect your wallet. This morning, how much of an increase you could see on your Avista bill this winter.
And storm chasers captured the moment a tornado touched down in Washington. Now we're getting a look at the damage left behind by that storm.
Here locally, we'll take you outside and talk what that storm system does for our temperatures as we head through the next couple of days.
Up with KREM begins now.
7:31 now on the dot on this Wednesday morning. Thanks so much for joining us on Up with KREM. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Well, let's get right to it. The rail line is back open in Montana, where an Amtrak train derailed over the weekend, killing 3 people.
Crews are still working to make repairs. This happening as the NTSB investigates what went wrong leading up to the crash. We now know that the 3 who did not survive are Donald and Marjorie Varnado, a married couple in their 70s from Georgia, and Zachariah Schneider, a 29-year-old from Illinois. The community has dropped really everything to come and help out. In the moments after the crash, volunteer first responders answered the call, and restaurants opened up kitchens, and workers at a high school cafeteria started making sandwiches.
It was amazing to see that support and just everybody come together, and differences, no differences, it didn't matter at the time. It did not matter. Everybody was just here, and that's what brings me to tears.
The NTSB is on the ground with a team of investigators. They will carefully review the black box recordings and footage from forward-facing cameras on board at the time of the derailment. However, it may be some time before we know a cause. A preliminary report could be issued in a month. All right, the time is now 7:32. Let's take a live look outside. Look at that. That is a gorgeous way to start Wednesday. Have a cup of coffee maybe for National Coffee Day, and I don't know, maybe sit outside enjoying your cup of coffee this morning.
Good idea. Let us know what's your favorite coffee place in town.
Oh, you got one? I got one. Oh man, I'm excited to talk coffee coming up. We've got everything you want to know and things that you might not, so stick around. But in the meantime, here's everything you might want to know about weather and some things you might not. Right now, temperatures down in the low 40s in Spokane. 42 degrees here. It's a nice cool start to the day. And around the inland northwest, temperatures continue to stay in the mid 40s for a lot of us. It is a somewhat cool start to the day across the region, and for some of us, it's a bit cooler than where we've been. We continue to drop in our morning lows. Today, though, likely the coldest day as we head through the next few, so that's a bit of good news. The other bit of good news is we get plenty of sunshine today, and that sun sticks around for a lot of it. The not so good news, well, we do eventually see clouds build back in tomorrow and then another round of rain, but we need the rain. The even better news, how about this? The rain doesn't arrive until overnight Thursday, and when it comes to temperatures, we'll be up near 60 later on this afternoon.
3 former WSU fraternity members pled guilty to supplying alcohol to minors on the same night 19-year-old Sam Martinez died of alcohol poisoning. Nolan Valsic, Cameron Thomas, and Maxwell Rovengo are the first to be sentenced in connection to Sam's death.
Court documents show that all 3 men were given 1 day in jail, 8 months of probation, and a $1,000 fine. Now, they were not accused of supplying alcohol to Martinez specifically. Sam's death happened back in 2019 after he attended an event at Alpha Tau Omega.
If just one person had stopped or said stop, if one person had called for help when Sam was in trouble, Sam would still be with us right now. And that's really hard for us to live with.
Well, Sam's family sent out a statement last night calling the punishment very minor against those involved. WSU declined to comment on the sentencing.
It's time now for your morning rush. More news in less time. First up, the Coeur d'Alene School Board announced they will not be voting on a mask mandate in the near future.
This after hundreds of local parents showed up to protest against a potential mask mandate last Friday. Police say people outside were threatened to break down the door after learning they wouldn't be allowed inside due to capacity limits. This week, in a letter to parents, the board chair announced next week's meeting will be entirely virtual and not in person.
Police are still trying to figure out what led up to a stabbing on a school bus. Now, this incident happened outside Longfellow Elementary School last Friday. According to police, the bus driver, 72-year-old Richard Linhart, was stabbed and killed by 34-year-old Joshua Davis. Davis has been arrested. 35 children were on the bus during this attack, but none of them were hurt. Police are still trying to figure out why Davis attacked this driver.
Gabby Petito's family made their first public appearance since the 22-year-old's body was found at a Wyoming campground.
She's with us. She's with us.
She's with us.
Emotional testimony there. Petito's parents and step-parents called on her fiance, Brian Laundrie, to turn himself in to police for questioning about her death. Authorities have been looking for Laundrie after he disappeared from his Florida home 2 weeks ago.
The Laundries did not help us find Gabby. They're sure is not going to help us find Brian. For Brian, we're asking you to turn yourself in.
Well, authorities are offering up to a $30,000 reward for tips leading to finding Laundrie. Gabby's family is starting a foundation on her behalf to help families of missing children.
In Washington, the latest numbers show just over 69% of residents are fully vaccinated, and it's just short of the 70% goal. Now, the rate is expected to increase as October 18th vaccine deadline for state employees approaches. Vaccination among those workers has jumped 20% during the last couple of weeks. Now, that's as more than 5,700 employees have applied for a vaccine exemption, but less than half have been granted. Some have made accommodations like working remotely, but the rest could potentially lose their jobs if they don't get vaccinated.
Well, more things will cost more than $1 at the Dollar Tree. The retailer announced it will start selling products that cost more than $1 after they say customers said they wanted broader product assortments. Over the next 3 years, the company is also adding thousands of additional Dollar Tree Plus stores, which already offer items for $1, $3, and $5. Okay, I'm no longer going to call it the dollar store anymore. It's going to be the $5 store.
The $5 store. Well, that's your Morning Rush. More news in less time. Let us know what's going on in your neighborhood by using the hashtag #UpWithKREM on social media.
Avista customers could see a slight increase in your bill this winter.
Nicole Hernandez is breaking down the changes this morning.
Yeah, that's right. If you have natural gas through Avista, you've got one of these in your yard measuring how much natural gas you use every single month. But coming up starting in November, you might have a higher charge for using the same amount of gas. I'll explain why coming up.
And it is National Coffee Day. And of course, we want to know who has the best cup of coffee in town. You can send us your recommendations at 509-448-2000. We'll give them a shout in just a bit.
Oh, we've got opinions. Spoiler alert, it's not the dollar store, but we are talking temperatures coming up after the break and how we get so warm by this weekend.